Welcome to the I Am One podcast. On today's episode, we're sitting down with Patricia Hoppmann, a peer support program assistant here at PSI, and as she puts it, the team's unofficial sweeper. That's a sports reference. Never mind. We'll chat about how Patricia's journey into motherhood was unplanned. The road that followed included early labor, the NICU, breastfeeding challenges, postpartum depression, and the very real fear of being honest about how she was feeling. What changed everything? Peer support and finding the right therapist. This one is honest, heartfelt, and full of the kind of realness that makes you feel less alone. So without any further ado, please sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode with our good friend, Patricia. Patricia, welcome to the podcast studio. We are so thrilled to be sitting down with you today. It is the highlight of our week. Ending the week on a great note, Friday afternoon podcast recording with the one, the only, Patricia Hoppmann. Welcome to the studio.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we don't often get to mingle with Patricia because, we all work at PSI, but, in different areas. And it's not like we walk by your office or cubicle or anything. So this is really special that we get to spend some time with you.
It is really special.
I'm going to ask a pre-interview question.
Oh, off script already.
I'm here for it.
If PSI had an office, what would the inside of it look like? Like, would we have cubicles or offices, or would it just be like fun couches and beanbag chairs everywhere? What would we do?
I think it would be a hybrid. I think there would be available cubes for folks who wanted to focus and buckle down, but then also a ping pong table and a game area. And maybe even just a room that was completely pillows and couches.
Yes.
A little bit of both, I think.
Do you want a people right now? Do you need an introvert timeout? What do you need? We're here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. You heard it here first.
There you go.
Yeah. It's probably what it's going to look like whenever it comes to fruition. Yeah.
Big plans.
With that, Patricia, could you give us a little bit of an introduction to who you are?
Yes, I work as the peer support group's program assistant. So I do some admin work kind of behind the scenes, helping to make sure that everything is scheduled appropriately for the support group's program, working with our online platform, Sharewell. And I'm affectionately known as the sweeper of our team.
Oh,
So this is a soccer metaphor.
yeah.
Yeah, if anybody is familiar with soccer, I kind of do a little bit of everything. I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, whatever needs to be done, I can do it.
Wow. You know what? I think Patricia needs a shirt. The sweeper.
A jersey?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, do you have a number?
I don't, but my daughter just joined the volleyball team at her school, and she's number 11, so I'll just take 11 too.
Okay. Number 11, the sweeper. Write that down. Got it. Okay. I've taken a note, for no reason at all.
For no reason at all, says the team who will see each other at the next conference soon.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Additionally, can you tell us, if you'd like to, are you a parent? Do you have children? Where do you live? What kind of pizza toppings do you like? I don't know.
What's your social security number? I have a pen.
No, let's not.
Oh, never mind.
Sure, I'll just talk about myself for an hour.
Oh, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, so I am in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've lived here pretty much my whole life, and I am mother to two. I have an 11-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old daughter. And I also work as a moderator for our postpartum planning class here at PSI, which is very exciting. We started this class roughly 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is a preventative service. So this postpartum planning class is really focused on your mental health and emotional well-being after giving birth, or even just postpartum in general. So there's lots of information out there about, do you have a birth plan? Check. Did you take the hospital tour? Check.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take a birthing class? Check. But what about my mental health?
Do you know what to do after those things?
What happens when they send you home?
Yeah. Yeah. So this free online class just really focuses on not so much baby care, but again, like the mental health and emotional well-being in that time. So I'm really, really proud of that class. And I sure wish that I had taken something like that.
Yeah, I don't think that there was anything available like that. I mean, I took a childbirth prep class.
Mm-hmm.
For a bunch of birth positions that like we never used.
No.
Yeah. We're going to practice breathing when you have no clue why. I mean, just...
It's such a placebo effect, isn't it?
I just tried not to giggle through it. I felt like they're going to kick me out of this class. Like, I got the giggles. If I wasn't, in the bathroom peeing every 5 minutes because, I was very, very pregnant, then I was giggling through.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. And we'll get into this more later, of course.
Yeah.
With my first daughter, I didn't even get to take the class.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, I feel like there's a story here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was signed up for the birthing class at the hospital, but then things happened early. So I didn't even get to take that birth class.
Well, I think this is a perfect time. We are just very naturally going.
Tell us how perinatal mental health disorders impacted your life, huh?
Personally, professionally. Tell us more.
Say more.
Let's get personal.
Gosh, it's such a story. And I guess we should start at the beginning.
Let's do it.
My husband Scott and I got pregnant, and this was an unplanned pregnancy.
I was just going to ask if it was okay for me to ask. But
yeah, no, absolutely. And we know now, right, that 50% of pregnancies in the United States are unplanned. I certainly wasn't in the minority there, but to be very clear, like we were not planning to get pregnant. We were, at the risk of being TMI, like using contraception to not be pregnant. And those things are not 100% foolproof. So is foolproof the right word? I don't think that's the right word.
Effective. Not 100% effective.
Thank you. So, yeah, it was definitely a surprise, even though, I knew that I wanted to be a parent someday. So when that happened, we decided to continue to be pregnant. And I had a really easy pregnancy. I was healthy. Everything was just kind of moving right along. And then very suddenly, I was 34 weeks and just chilling on the couch watching TV one day, and my water broke and it was off to the races.
Oh, yeah. Once that happens.
Did you know it was your water, or were you like, were you one of those, like, could this be pee? Like, I'm not sure.
Was it a pop or was it a trickle?
No, it was a pop, like a lightning bolt pop. Very, very painful. And because like all this liquid was coming down. So I was like, oh, did my water just break? What?
Like, how did all that amniotic fluid just get on the couch? I'm very confused.
It was unbelievable at the time.
And every time you moved after that, more kept coming out, right?
That's right.
It's not like it pops and then suddenly you're like back to being like composed again. No, you're just leaking like a sieve.
It was a life-changing moment for sure.
Yes.
And very confusing. And I was home alone at the time. So I was just like, what is going on?
Oh, wow.
So this was about 10:30 at night. And my husband at the time was working in restaurants. So he was at work. So I called my parents and said, you have to take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, how was that phone call? Like, were you scared to make it? Were they like, drop everything, let's go? Like, how did that go?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was terrified, panicking. And when I called them, they're very quick to action. And so they were like, all right, let's go. And there was no hesitation. There was no like questions. It was just like, all right, here we go.
And did they live nearby?
About 20 minutes away.
Okay, not too far.
That's good.
Yeah. Definitely driving like 190 miles down the highway to get me to the hospital.
Mimi, we have somewhere to be.
Yes. Shout out to my dad, who's an excellent driver.
Hey, Dad.
So yeah, I was having contractions about 2 minutes apart in the backseat of their car. Everything happened very, very quickly. And so we get to the hospital and I'm in, excruciating pain. I'm panicking. Contractions are coming and I'm, they wheel me into the ER. And yeah, it's hard to go step by step of everything that happened because again, I was just in full panic mode. Like, I understood I was about to have a baby, but also it was like, why?
Like, this is a month and a half early.
This is a month and a half early. This is not okay.
When you look back, does it feel like you have snippets of memory? Like you're like, I can remember like a couple of minutes of this. And then I know that later, like we were upstairs in a room or what, like looking back on it, what is it like?
That's very accurate. I think that I do have these pinpoints of things that happened. For example, I remember, being in pain and asking for medication, and the nurses were very kind. I felt like they weren't looking me in the eye. I felt like they knew that things were progressing so fast that I wasn't going to be able to have medication, but they weren't really telling that to me.
Mm-hmm.
They were just kind of, oh, okay, and like leaving the room.
Like side-eyeing each other, like, ooh.
Yes. I mean, and also like, who knows, like what the actual reality of the situation was at the time. I can't time travel back there. Like maybe there were conversations that I just don't remember.
Yeah.
But that was my takeaway. That was my impression of like how I felt, was that I was asking for medication and they were not telling me.
Like not saying yes, not saying no, not kind of talking through what was happening and saying, this is actually happening really quickly and there may not actually be time for that, so that you could even wrap your brain around any of the possibilities.
That's exactly right. So then I remember being wheeled into the OR, delivery room, whatever it was, the room. I was being wheeled into a room. And the nurse that was wheeling me, that was the first time where I looked at her and I said, I'm not getting any medication, am I? And she just shook her head. No. Then I was like, oh, sheep. So then I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this without any pain medication, then I'm going to give it 700% and I'm going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so thankfully, I didn't push for very long. Again, so like my water broke at 10:30 at night and Audrey was born at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow. That was fast.
Very, very fast.
Is that still able to be considered a precipitous birth?
I don't even know what that means, but sure. What is precipitous?
I don't know if there is a criteria. I will look it up.
Oh, rapid and unexpected delivery that occurs within 3 hours of the onset of regular contractions.
Yep, that sounds about right. Yep. So that was a pretty traumatic experience for me.
Yes.
And there are also things like when you talked just now about like flashes or memories that I have, there are memories that my husband has that I don't have. Well, he'll say like, remember when you did this? I'm like, no, I don't.
Did he make it in time?
Yes, he did.
I was like, oh my gosh. We forgot to set the scene. Like, where are the main characters? Is he still at the restaurant? Like, are your parents there? Like, okay. So you were wheeled back. Did you have a C-section? Was it
This was a vaginal birth. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So he arrived just as I was coming into the emergency room. And also a fun little detail about that moment is that I had already registered with this hospital, but they didn't have my registration paperwork. So there I was in the hospital, contractions happening 2 minutes apart. And they were like, here, can you fill this out for us real quick?
No, I cannot.
Had it just not been entered yet, or they just couldn't find it?
They couldn't find it.
Oh, dang it.
I know. So he was there with me at that point. My parents were there, not in the delivery room. Scott was there with me in the delivery room.
Okay, so after the baby's born, you're 35 weeker, right?
34.
34. So what was the after? Like, were we like headed off to the NICU? Were they like, oh, look, great APGAR score. No further questions, Your Honor. Like, what happened next?
Yeah, so...
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It was hilarious. We can laugh about this now.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the time, zero laughter happening. Yes, so Audrey was taken to the NICU. We stayed in the neonatal intensive care unit for only 7 days. And there was no major medical complications. She weighed 5 pounds, 7 ounces, which is not bad.
It's pretty good, right?
Nice work. Good job.
I cooked her real good. Thank you. She just had a little bit of jaundice, and they just wanted to make sure that she was going to gain weight and all of that stuff.
Right.
But I had so much anxiety just because, everything had been so fast that on a scale of 1 to 10, I was at an 11 all the time.
In terms of hypervigilance?
Yeah, in terms of hypervigilance and still just like fight or flight kind of.
Oh, that's your parasympathetic nervous system?
Yeah.
It was like activated.
Activated.
Run! Hide!
On turbo. Yes.
It was like, there's a saber-toothed tiger.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere. So anxiety is a real milk killer as far as breast milk is concerned.
Yep.
And up until that time, I didn't have any close friends who had had children.
Uh-huh.
I'm the youngest of 4, so I had watched all of my siblings have kids, and I don't know, seemed pretty easy, seemed pretty normal to try to breastfeed, and that was the plan. Like, sure, I'll just breastfeed and
I'll just do that.
yeah, I'll just do that. So again, like being through a traumatic experience, being in the NICU where I couldn't hold my baby as much as I wanted to, especially, just to backtrack a little bit, after giving birth, the delivery doctor took her, placed her on my chest for a split second, and then took her to another room to do something. I don't even know what, like, I guess make sure she was breathing properly or something. So being in the NICU with her, breastfeeding was challenging. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like my milk was coming in, and there were nurses who were telling me, yeah, well, because of everything you've been through, like it may take a couple of days. And they encouraged me to pump like every 3 hours, which for me was very, very physically uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I just wasn't producing barely anything.
I have a question, just as somebody who, I have 3 kids and none of them were NICU babies, so I don't know what it's like in the NICU. Do you have like privacy? I mean, this is your first baby. Everybody has kind of a different comfort level with, breastfeeding. Like by the time I had my third, I was basically answering the door if it rang, and I was nursing, okay. But I didn't feel that same way the first time. I'm not trying to push my feelings on you. I'm just curious, like, did you have privacy? Did it feel like you were on display? Like, did that also add to it, or?
We did have privacy. I do think that we were very fortunate during that year, during that month, like in that specific hospital, there was room for us to have a private room. That's not always the case.
Wow. Okay.
So we were able to have a private room.
Did you go home every night and then come back in the morning?
Yeah. It was just surreal. It was just really weird. I felt very disassociated. Being in the NICU with her, she was in, the incubation chamber. She had, an oxygen tube in her nose. And again, we were very, very lucky to not have any major medical issues. And being in the NICU, when you go into that wing of the hospital, there's an area where you have to scrub up real good first.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this sink with this like special scrub brushes and special soap and special everything that you have to use. And at that sink, I met other NICU moms.
Oh.
We would chit chat with her. Oh, how long have you been here? And there were moms who their babies had been there for months.
Wow.
I couldn't even imagine what that must be like. So that's, when I started talking about the NICU, like we were very, very lucky to only be there for 7 days.
Yes.
But we would go into the NICU, and depending on like if they had to do a blood test or something, like I couldn't just walk into the room and pick her up and hold her.
Yes.
I had to ask permission first. That's not a knock against the nurses. Like I understand there are policies and procedures in place for this type of thing. It was just weird. And again, I was always at an 11, just wondering, like, what's going on? Is she okay? What's the next step? When are we going home? How do I feed her? Is this okay? Just like a million questions a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not a doctor. I don't know.
Yeah. There was a lot of unknown and unexpected. First of all, you were a first-time parent. Second of all, this happened way faster. I mean, way sooner than you thought. You still thought you had a month and a half to go.
Right.
And thirdly, I mean, this is not how you expected post-delivery to go. You thought you would come in with a baby in your body and then walk out and go, is it okay for us to leave right now and drive down the road with this thing? We're new here, but okay. Like, you probably thought, we will leave. We've got to have the car seat in the car, and that's how we're going to leave the hospital.
Which maybe you didn't even have ready at 34 weeks. Like,
probably not.
That's so funny that you bring that up, because that's another, like, big memory that we have of being in the NICU is that Scott and I, like, on our smartphones researching, like, what's the best car seat?
Oh, yeah.
And he did all of that research. I will give him kudos for that. He's very good at research, and he handled all of that. But yeah, I had just had my baby shower a week earlier.
Oh, you didn't have everything set up yet?
No.
I'm kidding.
No, I didn't. And this is the joke that we make now is Audrey heard us talking about her, and she just like really wanted to like poke her head out, be like, are you guys talking about me?
Hello?
Yes, we were talking about you.
Shh, not now.
Because there was no medical reason. No doctor gave me any kind of medical explanation of why this happened the way that it happened.
Not even afterwards.
No.
Oh.
Weird.
I wonder how often that happens.
I wonder too. I don't know, but it was all very confusing.
If anybody's an expert in this area and you know a stat, let us know. Send us a message. I'm just curious about that.
I was just thinking about like the learning curve to going into the NICU every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you have to do to go in, what you do when you're in there. Well, like, what's the procedure for picking up the baby? Like, what are you hearing around you? To transition, whether it's 3 days or 35 days or whatever, from an environment where there are external rules and you have to follow them. Like, they are there for safety for lots of different situations.
Right.
To being at home and being like, okay, well, I spent the last 7 days, in your case, learning that this is the procedure before picking up the baby. I have to do this and do this and do this. And then can I pick up the baby?
What was it like coming home?
I remember that last day in the hospital where we were kind of feeling like, okay, we're going to go home today. We're good. Okay.
And that's the other thing is sometimes you don't know. Like they're like, maybe, but maybe not. And so you're not like, there's no plan. You're not like, oh, I'm going home tomorrow.
No, it's not like, I'm trying to think of it. I know y'all love a metaphor.
Oh, yeah. Hit us.
I'm trying to think of a good metaphor of like something that you start and then there's a completion and then like, I'm done now.
Like baking a cake.
Oh, there we go.
Sure.
You set a timer. It goes bing. The cake comes out.
It goes bing. And now you're done.
Maybe you check it with a toothpick, but like, that's it. That's the whole thing.
Right. There was a very much like a roller coaster of will we or won't we go home at the end. And then, we're completely at the mercy of these nurses and doctors.
Yeah.
It is not our decision. Like, we're ready to go home now. Nope, it's not up to us. We have no say in this matter. And so when we finally did get the okay, we were relieved and happy, but driving home with her to our house was terrifying.
Did you drive really slow?
Really slow.
Yes.
So I was in the back seat with her in the car seat and I had my hands on her and we were silent. It was probably like a 25 minute drive home. And I just felt like I had robbed a bank. I felt like, how am I getting away with this?
That's a great metaphor.
But your getaway was you were going 55 in the right lane on the freeway. like you should have been pulled over for going too slow.
How am I allowed to do this? Because again, like I'm not a doctor. Like so the transition to home, I was used to having medical professionals surrounding me 24/7. And now I had to be the nurse. I had to be the doctor. And that caused a lot of anxiety and hypervigilance.
Right.
So in the NICU, because my milk production was so low, we were supplementing with formula from day one. And so there was still a lot of messaging that I was hearing about how I still needed to give her my own breast milk. Even if it was just a little bit, it was so important because she was preemie to get that breast milk.
A lot of pressure.
I was feeding her from my body, and then I would pass her off to my husband. He would feed her formula, and then I would immediately start pumping on a 3-hour pattern.
And it takes almost 3 hours to complete the whole thing.
Right.
How long did you stay in that completely impossible to maintain cycle?
Good question.
/ what broke the cycle?
Right. White flag.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. I remember going to the pediatrician at some point, and even though she was gaining some, they were not thrilled with how much she was gaining. And so then it was recommended that we rent a hospital grade pump and a hospital grade scale so that I could weigh her, nurse her, and then weigh her again to see how much I was actually feeding her, which, like, in hindsight, there was no way that I was coming out of this without postpartum anxiety.
Yeah. Oh, wait. So you want me to be even more hypervigilant? They're saying that I need to collect so much data, like throw this in an Excel spreadsheet to determine if I'm doing a good enough job.
Yes.
Oh, wow. It's a lot.
Yeah. So the amount of scientific scrutiny that I was under, that my body was under, it was hard. I remember seeing a lactation consultant, and maybe she was 3 months old, 4 months old. I don't remember. But I just remember seeing her, and she was very kind, and she was giving me pointers as far as like positions and things like that, you know, things that I could eat, like oatmeal, and like there's like a mother's milk tea, things like that. I think I saw her for, let's say, 4 weeks. And at the end of 4 weeks, when nothing had improved, she said, well, there's this medication, there's prescription medication that you can try. And that's where I drew the line. That was where I finally gave myself permission. I said, you know what? I've tried everything that I could have possibly tried. I quit.
Yeah.
How did that feel to make that decision?
It was a relief.
Yeah.
It was a real relief. Breastfeeding for me was really painful. I did not enjoy it. And so that was probably, I think, like 6 months.
And Patricia, you tried a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's just recognize that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. And like, we were supplementing with formula the entire time. She had acid reflux in the first few weeks. Because, you know, when you're a preemie human, your internal organs aren't fully developed. And so
that little muscle that's supposed to close off the stomach.
I know.
Well, close off, but like,
you know.
So it was a lot. Suffice to say, it was a lot. Okay, so like relating all of this back to mental health, this whole time, I felt like I was supposed to be hypervigilant because we had been to the NICU. We had a traumatic experience. So I was supposed to be at an 11. It never dawned on me like I shouldn't feel this way, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, and you also were being asked to collect a lot of data to do things that you didn't think you were going to have to do. Weigh the baby first. Like you said, all of your older siblings had children. Did you ever witness anybody go, oh, just a second,
No.
the baby's hungry. Let me get the scale out first. Let me just write down that data. Okay, and let's go ahead and feed. And then we're done here. Let's go ahead and weigh again before we move on to the next activity.
Yeah, no, there was no Thanksgiving dinner where that happened.
Right. Like, so that was another reason that you kind of had that message in your brain that you did need to be paying attention to things. And you know that that's something that not everybody needs to do.
Yeah.
In your experience, right?
Absolutely.
It's understandable.
Anyone who comes home with a baby is going to come home with some amount of sleep deprivation that they're going to have to deal with for probably some longer than they want period of time.
Mm-hmm.
There are tons of learning curves, whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding or some combination of feeding, you're learning new skills. And even if it's not the first baby, the second baby inevitably needs completely different stuff, because why on earth would they operate the same way for our sake?
Also, let's just say that's rude, but I digress.
Come on. Like, I built a template and then had a different kid. Like,
I was mad that nobody told me that the tricks that I finally discovered on the first child would not, in fact, work on the second child. I was like, this is a ripoff. I want a refund. I'm kidding. I didn't want a refund, but...
It's like they're humans and not robots.
yes.
Which is maddening. 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah. Thought I was having a robot.
So in addition to all of these things that you have to learn, not having ever, I don't know, peeked behind the Wizard of Oz's curtain before.
No, I never had.
Like, you're doing all of that and someone throws on a set of administrative tasks. Clean this hospital grade pump multiple times a day. And you're going to calculate and you're going to weigh.
And report back to me.
Right. So in addition to learning all of this, they give you all of that.
Sure. Also, find time for self.
You treat yourself. What? Sorry, this isn't funny, but I mean, it really is like...
It is funny, but it's also just ridiculous. It's preposterous to look back at what was asked of me at that time.
Yeah. And none of us knew what we didn't know. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. Like, you didn't know that maybe you could have said, this isn't working sooner.
Right.
Or I would rather not try to breastfeed for 5 months or however long it was.
Right.
You know, it's getting in the way. I'm not sleeping. I'm feeling extra irritable. I'm like really nervous about all the things. At any point, Patricia, did you mention how you were feeling to your primary care doctor? Like, how did recovery go? Were you undiagnosed the whole time? And there's no wrong answer here. You're talking to two people who were undiagnosed. Emily was after her second birth, but like, I never talked to anybody about anything until like 8 years after my third was born. So I was closed-lipped about what was really going on.
So I was given the Edinburgh Postnatal Depression Scale questionnaire.
Did you tell the truth?
No!
Okay, it's just asking for a friend.
No, saw right through that.
Tell the truth, people. It's okay.
I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
Why did you not tell the truth? Again, no wrong answer.
Yeah, no, I've thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
Because of all of the work that I do with PSI, I think about this a lot. And I think that there are several answers to the question. There are several pieces to the puzzle here. One is I didn't know what would happen next. I didn't know that I could answer honestly and I wouldn't be sent to a mental hospital immediately.
Like that they would just be like, here's some papers of some like phone numbers and things.
Right.
Like, let us know if you need anything else.
I was scared that if I answered honestly, I would be separated from my baby. And that was terrifying to me. Of course, now I know that that is not the reality.
Right.
For most, but for some, that is the reality, right?
Sure.
Because maybe you need some time and space to help yourself so that you can help your baby, right?
Absolutely.
Or you're separated because someone's a little overzealous or misreads your symptoms as something else.
That's right.
We do have evidence to support your fear that answering a certain way should not be, but sometimes doesn't have the right result.
And luckily, in 2025, there are so many more perinatal mental health certified providers out there that know how to ask the important questions.
That's right.
In a way that helps parents feel like they're not alone or monsters and can have that open, honest discussion about, I'm feeling exhausted and like not myself.
Yeah. Like you're allowed to say, I'm not loving this right now.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to love your baby, to have love for your baby, but also hate being sleep deprived. It's hard.
Yeah.
So that was definitely part of the puzzle too, is that like the question was like, are you enjoying things the way that you used to? And in my mind, I'm like, well, no, of course not. The answer is, well, of course not. I'm enjoying things the way that I used to, but also I'm not supposed to be enjoying things the way that I used to. That was my belief. Where does that come from? That's a whole other therapy session. But like when I'm answering these questions, I answered yes because I was interpreting the question in a certain way where I didn't feel like I could tell the truth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was not flagged. Your provider wasn't like, okay, checking out the questionnaire real quick. Looks like she didn't score very high on this depression scale. So we don't really need to touch too much on it. But we now know that a lot of providers, especially the perinatal mental health certified ones, are asking important questions like, how's your sleep? How are you feeling emotionally?
Yeah.
In a way that people will open up. So even if that wasn't answered on the Edinburgh, scale, right? Then maybe it'll come up in conversation as like a double check, right?
Right.
And we're so thankful for that type of care. Anyway.
It's not in any way. It's an important thing to bring up. These are all realities that parents all over the world experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I keep coming back to it because I, like you, just was really worried about saying the hard things out loud. And I know Emily was too. And I just want parents so badly to know that it's okay to say how you're feeling and say like hard things out loud.
I thought it was normal to feel a need to be so hypervigilant.
Right.
Like, this is my job now.
Yeah, I'm being a good mom.
Yeah. Like, I've got a head on a swivel. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so after you liar pants on fired the editor.
Road Emily.
What?
Patricia, so sorry about that.
No, 100% guilty.
When did you get to the land of help?
So this is where the super, super dark and embarrassing part of the story comes in, which is okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It helps for me to say out loud that it's embarrassing, but it's true. So here it is. This was after I had weaned myself off of breastfeeding, which it's important to wean.
Mm-hmm.
What did we say that was? 6 months? 7 months? I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, we were using exclusive formula. We were using these bottles. It's Dr. Brown's bottles.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've ever used these, you know how there's like 37 parts to this bottle.
Oh.
They've got like the plastic that goes into the glass or plastic that like...
That's really not nice to do to sleep deprived people, I mean...
There's at least 700 parts to this stupid bottle. And I appreciate them all. No shade against Dr. Brown. Like, we needed the bottle because she was having acid reflux and it helped with gas, bada.
Yeah.
So cleaning the bottles was a challenge. I was so sleep deprived. And I was so sleep deprived. And I cannot say that enough.
Yes.
I was really struggling. And I remember this moment of being at the kitchen sink with my husband, and Audrey was down for the night, and we were like prepping for the next day. We were cleaning these 700 bottle parts at the kitchen sink. And I remember just sobbing. I was just sobbing. I just broke down and I was sobbing. And, he had his arm around me. It was like, honey, it's okay. It's okay. And all I could sputter out was, I don't want to do this anymore. And he was like, oh, honey, it's okay. Go lie down. Like, I'll clean the rest of the bottle parts. It's okay. And
I'm not talking about bottle parts.
I'm not talking about bottle parts. I don't want to do any of this anymore. I don't want to live anymore. And it was just this absolute kind of rock bottom feeling. And it really took him aback. I could tell his face was making a face, and I could tell like he was really shocked by the severity of what I was saying. I don't remember what happened exactly, but the next thing I remember is being in the bathtub for hours. Again, like very disassociated, numb, because I didn't see any possible way that it could get better.
Like you felt like, I am Sisyphus. I am going to every day for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
Clean these bottles and be sleep deprived again and again and again. And you can't see the end. And you're like,
no, thanks.
No.
Like, help, exit.
How did that feel in that moment that you were thinking that, or after? I mean, we're getting real personal.
Go for it.
Had you experienced thoughts like that before?
No, it was, in the moment, it felt almost like a business-like decision.
Oh, well, this is not working.
I am weighing pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
And the cons outweigh the pros. So I'm going to think about ways to not be here anymore. And I've heard other people tell these kinds of stories where we talk about suicidal ideations. And I've heard other people talk about their ideas of my baby is better off without me, like I'm bad for them, etc. And I didn't have any of those ideas. It was really truthfully just about me. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I felt confident. I was like, my husband can take care of her. My mom can take care of her.
They got this.
They're going to be fine. So it was really just time. It was really just like several hours of me being by myself.
The bathwater's cold at that point.
Oh, so cold.
Did he know about those ideas?
Yeah, I told him.
So you were first down at the sink washing dishes, crying and saying, I can't do this. And he was like, please go take a bath. Do what you need to do. I got this. You went to take a bath. And then did he come up and check in with you? And you later said, it would be better. I was not part of this team.
It's a good question. And to be honest, I don't have a super clear memory of all of that detail. I remember having the conversation of, if I'm going to have those types of thoughts, I need to talk to a therapist.
Ooh, wow.
That was like the action item was, okay, tomorrow morning, we're going to research and we're going to get you a therapist. So yeah.
Wow.
That's how it happened.
Go team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way to tell your partner how you were feeling, because you felt like you couldn't say the things out loud at the doctor's office, but you were able to tell somebody that you really cared about.
Yeah.
Good job.
So that's how we entered Helpland.
Okay. So you found a therapist.
Helpland. All right.
Was that your first time being in therapy? Had you been in therapy throughout your life? What was that like? I mean, it sounds like you were pretty receptive to the idea.
Yeah, no, for sure. I had seen a therapist in the past for some other, like not generalized anxiety disorder or generalized depressive disorder, things like that, but more so just like some really challenging life transitions that I was going through. Mm-hmm. So I was totally open to it, and I saw value in talking to a therapist. And so we found an individual therapist who was just lovely. We really got so lucky and found somebody. She wasn't certified in perinatal mental health, but she herself was a mom. She was great. She was really great. And I know, again, that I'm super lucky in that capacity, because so many people have to go through the trial and error of finding somebody who works with them.
This didn't feel like a good fit.
Exactly.
So did you get in pretty quickly?
I did. I got in really quickly. Again, I was super lucky.
Oh, amazing.
And I remember too, like, I don't remember how this happened exactly. The details are fuzzy, but I somehow, probably Scott did some research.
Yeah, Scott. Shout out. Mr. Research.
Yes.
You're like the sweeper, and he's like, what's on his jersey?
What's the soccer metaphor for the researcher? Team manager, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Anyway, okay, we'll think on it. We'll get back to you.
Yeah. We'll have him do research on his own research.
Mm-hmm.
So we found a peer support group that met in person.
I've been waiting for this. I'm like,
yes.
How did she get connected with peer support? We're going to get there.
This is where the magic really happened.
Okay, so you saw a therapist, then you found a peer support group in Raleigh.
Yes. Moms supporting moms.
Moms supporting moms. Great.
Still exists to this day, is an amazing peer support group.
Wait a second.
Is this ringing a bell?
Megan
Roberts.
Hey, shout out Megan Roberts.
Isn't she the best?
Yes.
So are you. We all are.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I want to thank me. Sorry, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that like, Patricia? You found Moms Supporting Moms.
Found Moms Supporting Moms. And I remember going to the first meeting. First of all, I left my daughter at home, which was terrifying.
Oh, not alone. Just for anybody wondering.
Yes, you can bring your infant to these meetings, but I elected to have a break.
Wow. That is a healthy boundary. That is okay.
That is okay.
Yes.
That's also a very common thing for people to be worried about, asking for what they need.
What does it say about me if I want to do something without this like sack of potatoes that cries at me all the time?
I mean, I love potatoes, but I need to go to the support group alone.
Yes, because also, like, I know this is common too for a lot of first-time parents. The baby cry to me sounded like a fire engine alarm.
Oh, it hits different, you know?
It does hit different.
I felt like it was like caused pain.
Yes. Physical and emotional pain.
Just from your baby or any baby?
My baby.
Same.
Yes.
Other people's babies, go ahead.
I was like, not my problem.
I was like, oh, that's weird. Do I hear something? That's weird.
I am not on duty for that. Yeah.
So I say all of that to say that having a break from hearing the baby cry was helpful.
Yeah.
So going to the peer support group, and I remember being there for the first time. It was a doctor's office lobby, like after hours, that they let us use the space and sitting, you know, in a chair in a circle with other moms and listening to their stories and realizing that I'm not alone in this. And that all of these other people have also had like really traumatic experiences, or they had unrealistic expectations of what parenthood was going to be like, or they had no support at all, no friends or family to help them. And they were struggling with feeding, or they had a lot of family and support nearby, and breastfeeding was easy for them, but they still had symptoms of depression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's just so many different stories, and hearing these stories gave me comfort to just know that I'm not suffering alone in this, and to also know that, like, it doesn't mean that I'm a bad mom, because it was so easy for me to hear their stories and give that compassion and say to them, Danny, you're still a good mom.
Thanks. I'm going to remember that later today.
Yeah. That group was just life-saving. It was amazing.
Peer support. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Wow. So here's a question before we jump into the lightning round in a few minutes. What led you to the work that you're doing now? I'm a little bit of a nerd. Like, I always want to know, like, were you doing something completely related?
Completely different.
Yeah. In your previous life, what did you do?
I was a restaurant manager.
Wow. And you had a baby and unexpected things happened and you had unrealistic expectations and like all these different things, and you felt things you didn't think you were going to feel, and got help and found community.
Yeah.
And here you are.
And here I am. Yeah. After I started going to the peer support group, and my individual therapist and I discussed getting on medication, which I eventually did. I'm so glad that I did, by the way. I know medication isn't for everybody. It was for me.
Same, girl, same.
After recovery, I went back to the support group program manager, the great Megan Roberts, and I said, hey, can I volunteer? And ever since then, because I didn't really have a career trajectory before this, other than a hospitality industry, I'd kind of like dabbled in the corporate world and the nonprofit world. So after recovery, volunteering with this peer support group, and then it was when actually Megan announced that she was leaving to go work at PSI. I was devastated, first of all. I was like, oh my God, don't leave me. But then later, when we decided to have another child, I was shocked that I decided that I was ready and able to do that 4 years later. But then I just felt so strongly that this was my calling, that, you know, taking all of this trauma and making meaning out of it.
Yes.
It's what you're supposed to do.
Is what I was supposed to do. Yeah. So I really felt like I was going out on a limb when I reached out to Megan and said, like, hey, is there any way that I could volunteer for PSI? And when she said yes, I was like a dream come true. It was a dream come true for me. And I couldn't believe, I was like, oh, little old me, I could work for some organization as prestigious as Postpartum Support International. Are you kidding me?
Incredible.
And now here I am.
Yay. Oh my gosh. I love hearing everybody's stories, and especially like how our experience has informed and shaped like the trajectory of the rest of our lives. I mean, it's like unexpected things happened.
Right.
And we couldn't have expected the incredible stuff we get to do now to support folks the way that we needed to be supported.
Yeah.
Feels so good.
Yeah. And I got my certification in perinatal mental health.
Hey,
Oh, me too. Earlier this week.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it the best?
I was very nervous.
Oh my gosh, I was so nervous.
Emily was so nervous to take the test.
I was so nervous that I was like, I don't need my PMHC. And everyone talked me into it. And now here I am.
It feels really good, right?
I like letters after my name.
That's so funny.
Patricia, thanks for sharing all of that. This is like a...
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time, and I feel like I could continue to talk about this for another 4 hours. I'm not going to, but in thinking about being on this podcast, you know, one thing that's really important to me is that one day I want my daughters to hear this story. And when they hear this story, it's also really important for me that I don't want them to feel bad. Well, for Audrey specifically, my first, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want her to think, oh my gosh, my mom had this terrible birthing experience and it's all my fault.
Because we know it's not her fault.
No, of course not.
Right.
I just feel the need just to say, hi, Audrey, as you listen to this.
Aw.
I just want to let you know that yes, it's true that this was unplanned. But when you hear the word unplanned, don't think unwanted or unloved or like, I don't want to fold the laundry. Think of it like more like impromptu. Like when your bestie texts you and says, hey, do you have lunch plans today? Impromptu. Like,
it's not what I planned, but
let's go. Like an impromptu motherhood journey. And it's a good thing. Yeah.
Aw. Patricia, that was like really lovely. You know what? I think this is the first time a podcast guest has ever spoken to their child in an episode. I'm sure you're not the only guest that's thought, gosh, I wonder how the kids feel about.
Yeah.
I've even wondered that myself because I didn't talk about my experience postpartum right away. And so sometimes I wonder what the kids will think when they hear, oh man, after I was born, she had a really hard time.
Right.
And that's really great. That's lovely. Like, and important to say that it isn't the kiddo's fault. And it's not your fault either. It's not the parent's fault.
That's right.
Perinatal mental health complications happen to anybody, whether you're prepared or you're looking out for it, you know about it, you don't know about it, doesn't discriminate. So
that's right.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thanks. That's all I wanted to say.
Do you have like 10 more minutes for like a lightning round?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Emily, can we make it actually lightning-y today? Probably not.
Yes, I'm going to do my best. Okay, are you ready? First question. What is your second favorite podcast? Because we're your first, obviously.
Obviously. I really like Good Hang with Amy Poehler.
Oh, yes, that's a new one.
She's the best. She's hilarious, and I love her forever, always, and it's a good time.
Hey, Amy. I love her. She's so funny. Are you currently binge watching, reading, listening to anything that we need to put in our queue on Netflix, Audible, Libby? Tell us. Anything?
I'm not. I'm so bad about this. I'm on like a steady rotation of old comedy sitcoms that I just watch all the time, like 30 Rock, Parks and Rec, Seinfeld, Schitt's Creek. I'm just like on a steady rotation of shows that I already know.
They're your emotional support shows.
Exactly.
There's enough to be anxious about.
Yeah, I know, right? I will take a break to watch some things, like Severance I really enjoyed.
Oh.
That was really good. I do have to say also, if there are other people like me who get anxious about watching something that might potentially be upsetting, there's this website called doesthedogdie.com.
Oh my gosh.
It's crowdsourced just like Wikipedia. So before I watch something new, I will go on this website to check, like, does name a trigger happen to somebody in this show? Because if I watch something and like any kind of harm related to a child, like I'll have a bad week.
Oh.
It'll ruin my week.
That is so cool. I've never heard of that.
I mean, this is the best parenting hack.
It's a really good resource.
This is like radical self-care. Oh my gosh.
It is. It's a really good resource, especially for those of us who have anxiety or if somebody has OCD or, anything. Like you can go to this resource and check before you watch something new.
DoesTheDogDie.com. We're going to put a link to that in the show notes. You best believe.
Okay, what's your best parenting hack for real, though?
/ what's working in this moment.
Grandparents.
Oh, grandparents. Yes.
Again, I know I'm absolutely coming from a place of privilege to we have grandparents that are local and that are actually devoted to their grandkids and want to spend time with their grandkids.
Yeah.
So I use them as much as possible. And do they spoil the grandkids rotten? Absolutely. But that's what they're for. It's fine.
Sometimes you don't want to take a sack of potatoes with you everywhere.
Yeah.
Basically.
Patricia, what is one way that you're going to show yourself a little radical love today?
I'm going to take a nap.
Oh, yes.
I'm in this really sweet zone right now where I can nap. And so I like to think of rest as rebellion as opposed to doing and hustle culture. It's just not for me. And so I'm the type of person where I'm not a morning person at all. So waking up early, getting the kids ready for school, which is its own challenge. I'm allowing myself to take a nap after I do all that.
Excellent.
Okay. None of the shows that you mentioned are shows that involve time travel, but that's okay. If you got into a time machine, traveled back in time, what would you tell, not necessarily at any one moment, but maybe there's a moment? What did you need to hear?
I think I would tell myself, get help now. Get help earlier. Don't white knuckle your way through this. It's not supposed to be like this. I would get help much, much earlier. And by that, I mean the peer support groups and the therapy and the medication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, I would tell myself, guess what? You're going to work for PSI one day.
You'd just be like, oh, also, fun fact.
And you'd be like, no way.
Yeah. So
there's cool stuff to look forward to. Okay.
That's right. Exactly.
Follow-up question, very important. Emily and I are a couple of moms, and we just need to check in on everybody that's on our podcast. How are you staying hydrated? How do you take your water? Bubbles, no bubbles, flavor? I mean, is it room temperature? What kind of vessel do you use?
Spill the tea.
Tea is water.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah, I really like water, actually. I just take it straight from the fridge, the filtered water spout on the fridge door.
Cold, filtered from the fridge.
Yeah. I'd say when I wake up in the morning, I will drink a pint glass of water and then it's coffee.
That's smart to drink water first.
Yeah.
I should do that.
I really enjoy drinking water first and then coffee.
Oh.
Look at how excited Danny is now. Okay.
Yeah.
Friends, she's very excited for coffee.
And then, because I'm old, probably around noon or 1, I have to stop drinking coffee and switch back to water.
Relatable.
Water.
Water throughout the day. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. How can folks get a hold of you? Or don't call me, I'll call you.
No, please. Email me anytime. My email through PSI, it's an abbreviated version of postpartum planning class. So it's ppclass@postpartum.net.
ppclass@postpartum.net.
Yes, and please email me all the time with any comments or questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, in my opinion.
I agree. That's great. We will drop a link to your contact info and all the amazing things that we talked about in today's episode in the show notes. Emily, can you take us out?
Why, yes, I can. Okay. Patricia, this has been lovely. It is not a surprise to me, actually, that you are the sweeper in your office because your background in restaurant management, very sweeper.
Oh, yeah.
Handle the things. Thank you for being so honest and for helping us handle the things now that need to be handled.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to the I Am One podcast. Check out today's show notes where we'll drop links to all the important things that we mentioned in this episode. Please consider sharing about I Am One on social media and following and rating our show wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. It only takes a minute of your time and, well, that'll help our collective mission of bringing resources and local support to folks worldwide. From everyone here at PSI, thanks again for listening.